few platforms here. So if you're just jumping in my Q&A group or on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching from, welcome to today's live session. I have committed to being live right here on all these platforms Monday through Thursday at right around noon, which is I'm in the Central Time Zone, so which is just about this time. And so I felt like I was doing it once a week, and I just felt like it was turning into way too big of a discussion. And I felt like little bite-sized chunks of information a little bit at a time was a better approach. Today, what I really want to focus in on, and actually this week, is this idea that maybe you feel like something is off on your health, but you're not sure what it is. And you just know, like, I just know that something is not right. And I've been to my primary care doctor. I've asked them to check me out. Maybe you've even had some labs done, and they've all come back normal or in range. So I just want to unpack that a little bit as we go along. If you have any questions as we're going, I'll answer them as I see them come in. Or if you're watching after the fact and you post a question in the comments, I do try to go back and review all that and answer questions. Because that's a common theme I see all the time is people say, well, they ran my labs and they didn't really find anything. So let's talk about a few drivers behind that. The first thing is that most people assume that when they have their labs run, as long as things come back quote unquote in the reference range, that is a healthy range. That means that they're healthy. No. And here's why. That reference range is developed based on statistics, not on health. So what they do is they take your population in the area. Most labs have an area that they're servicing, and they say, for this value, and let's take vitamin D, for example, because it's a pretty easy one to talk about. They say the reference range for vitamin D is 30 to 100. And that is because 95% of the people in your group, in your area, fall between 30 and 100. That doesn't mean it's healthy. That doesn't mean anything other than 95% of people fall in there. And so if you think about it and you start to think, well, a lot of people aren't healthy, number one. And when do people have labs done? They have labs done when they're not feeling well. So using the reference range as a healthy range is I think is a mistake. I think a better way to do that is when you're looking at labs, to look at them with functional ranges. So for example, if a lab range on vitamin D is 30 to 100, rather than saying, oh, well, let's have you at 30 to 100, a better thought is where's the research say people are going to feel best and perform best? Well, really, it's between 50 and 80 on vitamin D. And I say that because there's a lot of studies that have shown that, hey, if you keep your vitamin D above 52, there's some implications with different disease processes are less likely, or bone and joint health is optimized in those levels. And especially if you have, say, an autoimmune condition where you want your immune system to be properly modulated, vitamin D is one of the things that helps with that. So you really don't want it to be down on that tail end at 30. You want it to be really in the 50 to 80 range for that. So I feel like that is a really important conversation, is looking at those labs functionally. So that could explain why you're not getting any answers from these labs. But if you looked at them differently, you would. So there's that. And then the other thing is a lot of doctors are running labs the way they were taught to run them, and they're being educated by pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies. So their care is influenced by people that are selling medication, and people that are controlling the cost. So a really, really great example of this is in the thyroid world. And I see a lot of people with concerns about their thyroid, and they've been told everything is fine, but really it's not fine. And one of the things that they will tell me all the time is, I had my labs done and they told me my thyroid looked fine. And what they did is they ran a TSH, and they ran it one certain way that said, hey, if the TSH is in range, then we don't investigate any other thyroid numbers. That's the end of the conversation there. But what really should have happened is they should have had all of that data analyzed to see if they really did have a problem with their thyroid. But they did this TSH with reflex test because insurance companies love that, because it saves them a ton of money, right? So if they're looking at a reference range that says the TSH should be between 0.5 and 5, and as long as it's in there, then I don't have to pay for any more tests. But what happens if we know that a functional optimal range for TSH is between 1 and 3, and people feel really crappy when their TSH is at 3.5 and 4? And I know this because I've seen this time and time again. So just looking at is the reference range really the number that we're supposed to be looking at? And then having someone come in and say, yes, we need to run these in a functional way, but we also need to add some things that even though insurance isn't going to pay for them, and even though most doctors aren't running them, if we really want to look at certain body systems and like the thyroid, we really want to know what it's doing. So those are just a couple of reasons why a lot of people don't get the answers that they want. And I hear this all the time. I'm afraid we're going to run these labs and you're not going to find anything that's going to help me. And I always tell people, I have never had a conversation with someone, even after hundreds and hundreds of sets of labs, of looking at someone and saying, there's just nothing here that I can help you with. Because the truth is that we always find some priorities that we can help with and address when we do the labs in a functional way and combine them with an analysis that listens to people, asks a lot of good questions, and seeks to understand where they're coming from, and then getting the data and saying, not just asking the question like, oh, is this person dying of something right now, or do they need a medication for that, or do they need a surgery for that, or do they need to go to the ER? But we're asking the question of, they don't feel well, what is off, and what about their health needs to be supported? So I just wanted to jump on and talk about that, because it's a conversation I have every day and a question I get asked a lot. So just that notion of, if you feel like something is off and you haven't had a functional evaluation, that would be a great place to start and see if your suspicions are correct. The other thing I've learned after years of doing this with people is that most people have a really good handle on what is going on with their body. If they feel like something is off, it probably is, and you should probably listen to them, because they usually know what's going on. So anyway, that is a little bit on that. This week, for a couple of weeks now, I'm doing a friends and family kind of event, if you will. And if you have been meaning to check some of this stuff out on you, or you have been through this process yourself, and a family member or a friend needs to go through this sort of functional evaluation, there is something in it for both of you. If you sign up for a discovery call and just make a little note that this is the friends and family discount and who referred you, then I'm offering a bottle of my favorite energy support to the person who does the referring. Or if you're already under care, I can add some credits to your supplement credit instead of that, so that if you have a custom supplement prescription, I can give you exactly what you need. And then the person who comes in to have their labs done and everything, they'll get $50 off that process. So I feel like that is it's a great opportunity to do that. So someone just chimed in and said, happy Monday. Beautiful, which, oh, thank you. Happy Monday to you as well. I can't always see who it is. So just so you know, I don't see your name when I see the comments on here. It just says that somebody from Facebook posted that. But anyway, thanks for checking this out, and share that information with your friends and family if you feel like you or someone else needs to go through that process. If you want to refer yourself, you could do that too. And you can be part of that friends and family too. You don't need a friend to refer you, but that's my way. I really want to help. I know this is a big need because I have done well over 1,000 discovery calls at this point, which is me connecting to people and listening. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that don't feel like they're being heard and listened to, and they're being dismissed, and they're like, I know something is wrong, and I want to figure it out. So that's the heart behind what I do, and how I might be able to help. Okay, well, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow talking about health topics that matter to you. So tune in, and we'll catch you then. Thank you.